Hello and welcome to my blog again today. Today I want to give a quick shout out to the Thompson family. If you look below, they sent me a video of them working out. So they've been doing a lot of workouts with their dad, having gym days with their dad. So you can check out what they're doing to stay active. And so that's a great way. You see them running through the agility ladders, doing all kinds of stuff. So pretty cool video. So one of the problems that we're having in this pandemic is that it's really hard to get a haircut. I know I'm starting to get a little shaggy. I'm going to need a haircut when we get done with the quarantine, and I know my son is saying the same thing, that he needs a haircut too. And I've offered to cut his hair for him, but for some reason he doesn't want me to cut his hair for him. So probably because I just shave it all off, most likely. So the haircut thing kind of reminded me of a character I've been reading about in my morning Bible reading time, and that's Samson. Samson wasn't able to get a haircut either because he wasn't allowed to get a haircut. The story of Samson, it takes place in Judges chapter 13 through 16, and fortunately for you, I'm not going to read the whole story today, so don't worry about that. We're not going to spend all day reading Samson. But the thing about Samson is he's mentioned in Hebrews 11 as one of the heroes of the faith. And I find that kind of interesting because after reading the story of Samson and looking closely at the story of Samson, Samson isn't what you would think of as a hero. He had a lot of flaws, character flaws. And if you read his story, one of his flaws is that he's really arrogant. He's really kind of cocky and arrogant. And then another flaw, he kind of gets in trouble with women. That's kind of a problem with him, is that he likes women a little too much. And so, I find that interesting that this is listed as one of the heroes of the faith. And I think one of the verse in the story that really kind of sticks out to me is in Judges chapter 14, verse 4. Samson asked his parents, he says, "Hey, look, there's this Philistine woman I like. I want you to go get her for me to marry." And his parents look at him like, "You want a Philistine woman? What? You're supposed to marry our Israelite people. That's what you're supposed to marry." And so they didn't think, he was supposed to be doing that. But they went ahead and approached her parents to marry, for her to marry him. And what is interesting in verse 14 and verse 14:4, it says, "His father and mother didn't realize the Lord was at work in this, creating an opportunity to work against the Philistines who ruled over Israel at that time." So God's mission for Samson was for him to help free them from the Philistines who were ruling the Israelites at the time and oppressing them. And God used this. He used his flaw, his character flaw, for an opportunity. And I think that's just amazing. And it gives us hope as well, is because what God uses in Samson's story, he uses his flaws and he uses Samson's failures to accomplish his purposes. And if you read the story of Samson, you see at the end how Samson's failure put him in position to fulfill God's purpose. And so I share that with you, not to say, well, you can just go out and do whatever you want and just be a terrible person. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that God uses our flaws and our failures to fulfill his purpose for our lives. And I think that's really fantastic, because it means any one of us that God can use, regardless of how flawed you think you are, regardless of if you think you've blown it big time. Just remember the story of Samson is that God uses those things, and he's working in those situations to fulfill his purpose for your life. And so I think that's something that's exciting, and that's something that gives you hope and gives you joy during these times. So hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you tomorrow.